Great 2017. She started every game for the U.S. women's national team. She played all but 63 minutes for this Courage team, who were the Shield winners last year. But this year, she started off with a bit of adversity.
There were months early on, January, February, where I was looking at it like it was going to be this life-changing thing, and it's not. It's this little defect the size of my thumbnail. It's in my knee. I'm not looking to the future with dismay and thinking, I'm never going to be able to play 90 minutes. It's almost come with this new attitude that this isn't a big deal. I'm not going to let this affect my life.
Sam is one of those players that because she had all the success and then she has this injury, it kind of put a bump in the road for her. And I think it was like getting over that and just being like, this year isn't going to look like last year, and that's okay, but how do I deal with that?
Sam is a do-gooder. Sam is an overachiever. Sam always wants to put in the maximum and give her best. She never wants to let anybody down. And there was a time period where she was not able to do that. And I think that was really frustrating for her, you know, hitting her head against the wall every single day, trying to be exactly how she left off.
Last year, she didn't step off the field, and she started every single game for the national team. So with her knee injury, I think this was a big hit, not physically, but also mentally. Am I going to be the same player I was before this happened?
I think a bigger thing for me has been just trying to feel like myself again. Fitness and strength and my technical sharpness all come into play, but it's also believing that I can make the run forward and believing I can strike a ball like that and believing I can go into a tackle 100% has been more of the challenge. I have found through this injury that I was saying things like, as soon as I can run, I'm going to be fine, I'm going to be happy. And then I ran, and I was obviously not satisfied with that. And then as soon as I can play with my team again and just train, I'll be happy. And then I get here, and I'm training with my team, and I'm still not happy. And I'm not ever going to be content with what I have, but I just have to embrace what I'm doing and embrace the hard parts about it, because that is really how you get better as a person, as a player. I think it's at your lowest, you're asking yourself, do you want this bad enough? I mean, the answer for me has always been yes. I would literally do anything to win the Shield, win the NWSL championship, go to a World Cup, win a World Cup. It's always been worth everything else. Of course, I mean, there are days that you're just sad and you want to watch TV and have a donut and it like sucks. But knowing that deeper down than that, you really do have this kind of inner resolve that will get you out of it is important.
25 years old, becoming an integral part of her club and her country. U.S. women's national team qualifying for the 2019 World Cup. Just coming up at the beginning of October. She told me early in the year she wanted to be 100% when that hit. She is hitting her stride. All right, we continue here. The NWSL on ESPN, presented by Lifetime. Jen and Ali will break down a great first half. We'll be back to the Rose City. You're watching the Forward Halftime Show. Forward, go further.
Okay, here we go, guys. Ready? Cinturones, por favor. Gracias.
Opportunity is everywhere.
This could be fun.
It's a door.
Ooh, it's doing a lot of kicking down there.
Waiting to be open. Whatever your ambition, whatever your drive, whatever you're chasing, opportunity is everywhere. All you have to do to find it is get out. Here.
Welcome back to the Ford Halftime Show. Ford, go further.
The North Carolina Courage with the slimmest of leads, 1-0 over the Chicago Red Stars after the first half of the semifinal here from Providence Park in Portland, Oregon. Jen Hildreth, Ali Wagner, and though we have a 1-0 scoreline at the moment, Ali, with the way that first half went, the chances we saw from both teams, I got a feeling it's not going to stay that way.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, it was a pretty open first half, and I think for Chicago, what strikes me the most is how well they pressed, how well they kind of kept North Carolina at bay and didn't let their players get into open space, if you will, and run at their back line all that often. It did occur, but it wasn't that often. I thought Chicago had more of the ball, they had more of the possession, and they were brave. That was the one thing Rory said they had to be today, was be brave on the ball, solve that pressure of North Carolina, and pin them in their own end. And I think he'll be happy with that first half, despite being down 1-0.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think brave is a good word for what we saw from Chicago in that first half. Nothing making it easy for North Carolina, even though they did have an early goal.
No, but it started out with Chicago pinging one off the post there. That's Yuki Nagasato, who I thought was one of the brighter players for Chicago in that first half with her left leg. But then here's what North Carolina can do to you. It's Crystal Dunn who rolls her defender. That's the center back pinned up on her. And then the other center back is now responsible for Jess McDonald. It's power, it's pace, and a little bit of a toe poke here at the end just to slide that one by Nair, who can't get anything on as it tucks in that far post.
So 5th-minute goal from Jess McDonald gave the Courage the early lead. You wondered if they'd start to really roll with it, but Chicago came back on the other end.
They did, and here's a glimpse at the bravery. I mean, it's a 2v1 situation and doesn't favor Gilliland. She opts to go away from cover there, drives end line, and you see this ensuing chance come from Chicago, one side to the other. But the pressure, because they held the ball, because they had numbers forward, it didn't allow North Carolina to play out. They win the ball back in a really dangerous area, and that's Kerr who's just falling away from it. We know she's so capable of capitalizing on a half chance. That one pings off the post.
So a crossbar and a post, keeping the ball out of the goal for Chicago in that first half, who were just barely outshot by North Carolina. But they did have more of the possession, nearly 59% of possession for the Chicago Red Stars in that first half. When the NWSL and ESPN presented by Lifetime returns, we will have the start of the second half here from Portland, Oregon. This has been the Ford Halftime Show. Ford, go further.
Like leather, skin is stronger when it's hydrated, but 9 out of 10 men don't get the hydration their skin needs. That's why Dove Men Plus Care Body Wash has a unique hydrating formula to keep men's skin healthier and stronger.
45 minutes remaining to determine the team that will face the Portland Thorns in the 2018 NWSL Championship game on Saturday here from Providence Park. The North Carolina Courage with the upper hand after the first half. Jess McDonald scoring the game's only goal in the 5th minute. Sam Kerr, the Golden Boot winner the last 2 seasons in this league, had a couple of looks in that first half but was unable to put anything away. The woodwork keeping the Red Stars out of the goal a couple of times. Jen Hildreth, Allie Wagner, Dallin Cuff, your NWSL and ESPN presented by Lifetime crew. Happy to be with you for the 2018 NWSL season and the playoffs. It was a fairly explosive first few minutes of that first half, Allie. We'll see how the second half gets going. I think we had both teams with shots on goal or off of the crossbar within the first 5 minutes. Motts got that one through. It goes down on the ground to Kerr. Bryan gets it back, takes the shot, but it's an easy save for D'Angelo in the end. Sabrina D'Angelo getting the start for North Carolina as Caitlin Rowland had been out with a concussion from their game against Houston on September 8th. Didn't really get a chance to get much training and was cleared, but I believe had 1 day of training. And so Sabrina D'Angelo, the Canadian international, getting the starting goal for the first time since May 6th. DiBernardo has Gilliland overlapping on that far side. Ertz coming into the attack. Gilliland. Yuki Nagasato, the intended target. Casey Short steps it through, blasts the shot.
And you wonder if Chicago is going to start to sacrifice some of their defensive players to step up like this. Good positioning from Casey Short allows her to get to that ball before North Carolina can come out, and then she's going to unleash it. Can't tuck it into that far post, though, but I'm watching the way North Carolina is set up versus Chicago, and North Carolina's not leaving anyone high, and so Chicago can afford to send some players. Julie Ertz has advanced past that initial line of pressure. Casey Short was nicely tucked in.
Rory Dames has said all week, when asked about this matchup against the Shield winners from North Carolina, he said, well, if you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And they have really come out here firing against this North Carolina team this season. Hinkle keeps it on the ground. Nagasato, can she connect with Kerr? This time she does, as the Aussie comes back for the ball. Kerr has 3 defenders around her. Tried to get the cross off, no such luck.
Talked to both coaches to give you guys a quick update. We'll start with Paul Riley. He said, I told you before the game, Nagasato is a problem. We have to find Nagasato and keep her on at bay.
See what happens here and get right back to there, Dallin.
And that was his main point. And then Rory Dames said, you know, I like what we've been doing. Got to be cleaner in the final third. He goes, honestly, if we're 3 inches down or 3 inches to the side, we're on the board, possibly up in this game. So he's really pleased with what they're doing right now.
I think that's been our general consensus from what we've seen as well.
Absolutely, and even in that last attack from Chicago, it was the outlet ball into Nagasato that really set them free. Colaprico just slotted on the ground, and the understanding where Yuki Nagasato needs to be running to receive that ball and help alleviate that pressure of North Carolina has been on point.
I do have issue with one part of Dallin's report, though. He said it was a brief conversation with Paul Riley. I don't believe it. Love Paul. I enjoy working with him over the years, of course. Not a short-winded man, is he, Dallin?
Shots fired, and I'm going to go on record. I did not say that, Jen. That was you. You can own that one.
My fault, my fault. All right. Your accuracy shall not be called into question, Dallin.
Since when?
We're allowed to attack other things, just not that. Reminder that today was a construction day as they're undergoing some renovations here at Providence Park. No one's allowed to sit on that far side, hence the empty stands you see over there. We've got quite a full set of stands here in front of us on this side. Dabinia will safely see, or Lynn Williams, excuse me, will safely see that ball out of bounds. You see a good look at the group of fans. Heard they actually ran out of hot dogs in the concession stands.
Just a couple notes on the fans. Talked to people from both North Carolina, they're supporting North Carolina, and Chicago. Chicago's a number of fans that came from all over the place, whether it be Orlando, Chicago, some are local in Portland. North Carolina, same thing. Some local fans that are huge Courage fans had a chance to see their team live. They're pretty excited about that, and they hope they see them again on Saturday in the final.
It would be a nice 1-2 combo, wouldn't it? You get a chance to see this one, and then the championship game being played here at Providence Park on Saturday. Done. To a wide open Dabinia, but wide open for a reason. She was off.
Dunn finds herself in that little pocket of space in front of the mid this time, trying to slot in Dabinia, but you're right, Jen.
Oh, Lynn Williams in the middle, though. She, I think, broke at the right time. Would have been onside if that ball had gone to her rather than Dabinia.
That angle's so much more difficult, though, to hit.
Yeah.
That central ball.
Again, the boos for Jaylene Hinkle. Time she touches the ball. McDonald Williams in the offense. The potential to give this crowd plenty to cheer for. Record-setting offense for the North Carolina Courage this season. But Sam Kerr couldn't quite get that ball headed away by Abby Dahlkemper before it could get to the Golden Boot winner.
And with Sam Kerr, your default has to be just to overhit it. Give her a chance because she can chase anyone down. She can force errant passes. So you got to just get it over that back line if you're not going to be accurate with that ball.
Bryan Gets it up to Kerr, turns and looks at the goal, wanted to connect with Yuki Nagasato. DiBernardo fouled. So this has been a fairly clean game so far between these two teams. A little different than
I was going to say, a little different than the other one.
The Cascadia rivals, Portland and Seattle, in our first semifinal.
Matthias late on that challenge, DiBernardo. That's what DiBernardo wants to do, is filter inside. She's naturally a 10, being asked to play in a wide role.
Let's go Red Stars chant breaking out here in Providence Park as Danny Colaprico finished her career at Virginia #1 all-time in assists for the Cavaliers. We'll try to set this one up for the Red Stars. DiBernardo just able to keep it in. Remember, this is a North Carolina Courage team playing without one of its leaders. The stalwarts in the center of the field, and McCall Zerboni, who was injured with the U.S. national team, broke her elbow. And Paul Riley said all year they've had 5 midfielders for the 4 they play. Still plenty of talent there. Short rips the shot.
And that's just a new look that we don't see that often from Casey Short, because she's usually a left back. But playing on this right side allows her to cut inside onto that favored left foot and unleash some shots.
Rory Dames tell us that Casey Short was going to stay back a little more tonight. I guess it's not always how things play out.
The space is there, take it.
McDonald will certainly do that as she took it away. Williams, her shot blocked. And behind the play, Naughton still on the ground for Chicago, but Nagasato and Kerr, that duo, Nagasato in particular, saw a lot of the ball in the first half. Just haven't quite been able to link up and get the reward of a goal yet. Matthias to McDonald. Her first touch, though, got away from her. Boy, she brings that down. She is in a golden position.
And it's just a simple buildup from North Carolina, with Dunn sitting behind that midfield line. Allows the space for Matthias to get around the edge, and then the heavy touch from McDonald fails her. That ball was rifled in, though, with some pace.
Dunn in space, never a good thing for any opponent. Squares off against Ertz. Nagasato having to come way back for Chicago. And then a missed touch by Motts gives it to Debinha. Colaprico stride for stride with her. Now it's Denise O'Sullivan. Matthias, too far that time.
She loves that early service from a deep, wide area. Hasn't been able to connect on it, though, tonight.
Motts looks up, trying to pick out Kerr. She will challenge Dahlkemper, who calmly brings it down. Chicago had nearly 59% of the possession in the first half. Short, went short that time, but Broken up by O'Sullivan. Colaprico up the middle to Kerr. Can she get her own shot off? 3 defenders around her, but Nagasato comes up with it. Kerr still asking for it. Motz's ball bounces to the far side and done. And McDonald was fouled after the play by Julie Ertz that time.
Jess McDonald gets herself faced up. Whew. Late challenge there comes in from Ertz.
I think we already had about 4 yellow cards by this point in the match in the Portland-Seattle game. No yellows so far in this one. Pretty tough challenge that time from Ertz. We'll give Abby Dahlkemper a chance to serve this one up. Hinkle, her bending ball, a little short. Done. Now to Hinkle, did she keep it in? It is out now, it'll be a goal kick for Chicago. Paul Riley, Scott Vallow. Pocket things over on the sideline for North Carolina, who have the lead, but certainly don't have a lot of comfort with that lead, the way that the match has gone.
No, but I would say that with the way the second half is progressing, Chicago doesn't seem to have as much of the ball as they did in the first half, and I think that benefits North Carolina as this game blows more open, and Chicago has to risk more. North Carolina can pounce.
We saw how quickly they did pounce. Not only was it the 5th minute, but it was Dunn getting the ball, quickly getting it up to McDonald, who slotted it home.
And that's with good organization from Chicago.
Yeah. Dunn. Boy, she fought for that ball. Wound up committing the foul in the end, but lost her balance, got back up. She keeps her balance as well as just about anybody I've seen on the field.
In the women's game, absolutely.
Great to have Crystal Dunn back in the league this season. She spent the last couple of seasons with Chelsea. Former Golden Boot winner with the Washington Spirit. 2015. Again, those Chicago fans making themselves heard. Can they help their team get on the board? Colaprico, a rare missed service, and then Timothy Ford just couldn't quite get out of the way with the bend on that ball. And watch out, because North Carolina could break the other way. Motz will make sure that doesn't happen.
Three players converge on Yuki, but she's still able to get out of that pressure.
And you figure, Allie, if that's happening, somebody else will be left open, possibly Alyssa Motz.
Come on, come on! Easy.
One nothing was the score of the semifinal matchup between these two teams in Cary, North Carolina a year ago, with North Carolina finally getting the game winner in the 89th minute from Denise O'Sullivan, her first and only goal of the season. Dunn and short. Dunn couldn't get too much forward motion on that ball. Now Matthias will try it. Nice touch. And back to McDonald. She gets free, gets the cross off. Ertz got it over to Morgan Bryan with no problem, and then Hinkle just beat Nagasato to that ball. This is one of those balls that Sam Kerr can get onto, though. The turf didn't help her out with the bounce. But if you're Chicago, you probably don't mind taking that chance every now and then, right? Giving one of those balls for Sam Kerr to try to get onto. Matthias is down, but the ball was put back in play. Now Muse will just clear it out, give him a chance to go look at Matthias.
You're exactly right, Jen. With Kerr on the pitch, occasionally you just got to lump it forward, as they do in this situation, create a 1v1, and she's trying to bring that down in stride with her chest. Difficult one. You see Matthias coming back to recover, try to help out against Sam Kerr. Not sure if it's as she goes to ground there. It's been a frustrating night for Kerr.
Yeah, I don't think it's been her best thus far. I mean, she's been covered defensively, but we have seen Sam Kerr, in the opportunities that she's had in this match, do a lot more with them than what she's done so far.
Make things of nothing oftentimes. She had that one in the first half that she could have put away.
Yep. Our second NWSL semifinal coming at you from Providence Park in Portland, Oregon. The North Carolina Courage, the regular season winners, leading the Chicago Red Stars, the number 4 seed in the playoffs, 1-0 behind a 5th-minute goal from Jess McDonald. Back heel pass from Kerr. Got some oohs and ahs from the crowd. Winner of this one will face the Portland Thorns on Saturday in the NWSL Championship, played right here in Providence Park, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific, live on Lifetime. Jen Hildreth, Allie Wagner, Dallin Cup, our entire crew. Looking forward to being there with you for that one. Also have a special VIP in Kate Markgraf joining the crew for the championship. Ertz just comes to a complete stop a little bit. And she decides where to go with it, winds up picking out short. Good crowd on hand in this neutral site semifinal, which was moved here to Providence Park due to Hurricane Florence. 4,646 in attendance. And promising you, come Saturday, you're going to see a lot more fans in the seats, being told. Potentially already close to, if not sold out for that one on Saturday. Gilliland's ball. One of those that fell in the middle. A little bit of confusion on both sides. D'Angelo came back and both Nagasato and Kerr were there.
And even though I think they're both there, I think it just didn't line up for either of them. It's Nagasato who sets his play up with that back to pressure goal, or back to goal play, excuse me, and then she just goes into the box. You got 2 runners in there, and this one just falling in towards that back post. Kerr can't get in on it, and Nagasato can't dive close enough.
Sam Kerr has scored twice against this North Carolina team this season. Did it once in the 1-1 draw on August 10th and in the 1-1 draw on May 6th. The other one in there was a 4-1 victory on the 4th of July in Cary, North Carolina for the Courage. This time it's Nagasato, the front runner, who is offside, though.
And this time it's Kerr that's checking. Nagasato providing that pressure in behind. I don't know, that's a tight call. From the looks of it though, Jen, DiBernardo was kind of absent in the opening minutes of this first half, and now she's on this right side, Motz is on the left. Curious if they switched purposefully because a lot of the play was on this right side.
Dunn in short. 2 U.S. national team members. Dunn gets the better of that battle. U.S. back to Mathias. North Carolina Courage looking to get back to the NWSL championship game for the 2nd straight season. Get a rematch of the 2017 final, which Portland won 1-0 down in Orlando. Lindsey Horan, the championship winning goal in that match a year ago. Kerr so desperately wants to try to help her Chicago team break the curse of not getting out of the semifinals. Three straight years this Chicago Red Stars team lost in the semifinal round, but this is the first year Sam Kerr, a member of the group, Morgan Bryan's going to get called for that foul. And get a little talking to from Timothy Ford after the fact. Pretty important couple of weeks coming up here for many of these U.S. players like Morgan Bryan. World Cup qualifying at the beginning of October. Some of those matches will be played in Cary, North Carolina. Right now, the sights for all these players set on an NWSL championship. Debinha's shot will not challenge Alyssa Nair. U.S. national team head coach Jill Ellis. Come on, Jill, it's not that boring. We caught her on a yawn. And here to take in the action was also at the first semifinal between Portland and Seattle. Michelle French there with her, head coach at University of Portland. And Jill Ellis will have some decisions to make as she has to narrow down her roster in advance of that CONCACAF qualifying tournament. Hinkle couldn't get past both defenders as DiBernardo came to help, and now she got it back, stuck with it. Great left foot service, bouncing in the area, Debinha. Now Chicago just has to clear it away. Kerr will try to make something of it. Motz facing forward, back to Nagasato. She'll hold up, try to reset through Bryan. Nagasato trying to get Kerr around the corner, looked to be tripped, and was. This one is going to earn a yellow card for Merritt Mathias.
And it's the connection again between Yuki Nagasato and Sam Kerr that's providing a little bit of fuel going forward. Mathias trips up. Sam Kerr right at the edge.
First yellow card issued of this match. That one going to Mathias. And as you said, boy, that was just outside the area. But still in a very dangerous spot. See what Chicago can make of this.
Especially when you know you have Julie Ertz's ability at that near post. You rifle this one across and hope that it just falls into the back corner with no one touching it or a glancing header.
5'11" Sam Mewis next to Ertz, charged with keeping an eye on her. Colaprico's ball going toward that far post! And then colliding with the post. Was that Motts?
I think it might have been Morgan Bryan.
Couldn't quite see. She missed the ball but got the post. I think you might be right. And that is Morgan Bryan they are treating. See just how close this was and the impact that she took.
And you can see she's the one right in front of Casey Short there. D'Angelo comes out fishing, and then it's after she misses, or doesn't get enough on it, excuse me, I should say. She falls right into that far post.
And good news, at least she didn't hit her head on the post, but did jam that shoulder right into it with some pretty good force. Again, another near miss for Chicago, because if she puts that on target, it's not getting saved, not where she was.
Wait, D'Angelo's out. And this is one of those, you just got to redirect it where it came from. And perhaps that pressure was just enough. It might have been Jess McDonald who was on her, just backing up, and you can hear the crunch between her and the post.
Now the time is ticking away against the Chicago Red Stars team, which has felt pretty good about the way they've played the first place North Carolina Courage, but have not gotten a goal to show for it. And we'll see how Morgan Bryan fares. There are some options for Rory Dames on the bench should she have to go out, but Morgan Bryan has
been a key piece to how they've been playing. Yeah, the connection with this midfield has been fantastic today, and she's a big reason for that.
Missed touch from Ertz. She's able to recover. I mean, is there anybody that you see, Allie, Rory Dames bringing in, either forced substitution or not, just someone on the bench who you think might be able to make a difference for this Chicago team?
You know, you could perhaps bring in a Nikki Stanton. She's more of a defensive holding one, and then maybe you can free up Colaprico more going forward, but I still think that this is their best option to get one back and equalize.
Rosie White, New Zealand international, another option on the bench along with Michelle Vasconcelos, but this is certainly the group that the Red Stars feel gives them the best chance. They have had some chances. Gonna have to defend one here potentially from North Carolina. Davinia turning, serving. Now Mewis, the volley under the bottom of her cleat. Motts wanting to get the ball up the field to Kerr, but too easy for Abby Erceg to intercept. Dunn rolls it over, trying to buy herself some time and space. Does get a corner. First of the second half for either team. Fifth of the match for North Carolina.
And I think Hinkle has done better when she's got the ball out of her feet quicker. These last 5 minutes or so in the second half, I think the crowd booing her has gotten to her head a bit.
Davinia toward McDonald, headed toward the goal. The whistle blows anyway, and the save was made, but they're going to call a foul against McDonald, who cannot believe it.
And it's Ertz who has the unfortunate task of marking up. McDonald there. It might have been just a collision between her and Gilliland, in fact.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. I think it was her own teammate. Friendly fire there.
And no, that's not a foul at all.
Totally agree with Jess McDonald. Now,
doesn't finish it, but
right. Alyssa Nair made the save regardless. But you almost get the feeling, Allie, this North Carolina team, I mean, they've been lulled into a style that's not their own so much. I mean, Chicago's made it really difficult for them in this match. I think we expected a little bit more explosiveness, or I did anyway, from this Courage team.
I expected more connection through the midfield, the change of point.
This ball had 3 defenders around it, and I just think if Chicago wants to do that, they need to pick their moments. I mean, Kerr had 3 defenders surrounding her that time.
That doesn't usually stop her, though. In fairness.
That's true. She does have better odds than most in that equation. Turnover, though. Kerr takes it. Defense is out of position if Kerr can make him pay for it, but they're all central. That's where she is with the ball.
They just collapsed on her. You said it, Jen.
McDonald will be able to turn with this one. She wants to go inside. Has Debinha to the outside. Debinha over the head of Williams. She'll send it back across. The Brazilian. A half bicycle kick attempt.
I think she's had 4 shots. 4 of her 5 shots not go on target tonight. You're a teammate. Sometimes you say, hey, please, pass.
Well, you do remember, I mean, these teams, it was a very anxious time as they awaited decision as to where and when this semifinal would be played. Both coaches talked about how tough that was, just not knowing as the week went on where they would wind up. And you have to remember, whoever comes out of this is going to be on 3 days less rest than the Portland Thorns. That ball gets through for Debinha. She gets her shot, but puts it right to Nair. She said she was pushed.
That's better connection for North Carolina, and that's the shot that Debinha should be taking. In the last few moments or so in this half, North Carolina is either pushing O'Sullivan higher or Mewis. Before, they've been having both of them sit back and really, I think, spy Nagasato because they're so worried about her impact on the match. And I think as they're getting closer to the 18, releasing one of them forward is going to help them in that second wave, that second ball.
Nagasato got onto it there. Abby Erceg batted it away before Kerr could run onto it. First substitution of the match will come for the Chicago Red Stars. It will be the former BYU product, Michelle Vasconcelos. She's replacing Alyssa Motts. Vasconcelos, with just 1 goal on the season, does give some fresh legs and some speed, and has appeared now in the last 9 matches for the Red Stars. Gets immediately onto the ball, gets it across toward Gilliland. Gilliland trying to solve the puzzle of that corner with both defenders and was unable to do so. Chicago Red Stars need a goal if they want this one to continue, if they want their championship hopes to stay alive. North Carolina trying to make its way back into that championship game for the 2nd straight year. Their goal in the 5th minute, standing tall from Jess McDonald. Didn't think this one would end 1-0. Perhaps I was wrong. That's the scoreline that has held thus far as we're now into the 83rd minute. A lot of space opening up here for Hinkle as Dunn found her on the far side. Mewis doing the defensive work. Can she turn it into something offensive? She thinks she won the corner kick. And Timothy Ford says otherwise. No corners in the second half for Chicago, just one for North Carolina.
And Mewis is just going to ride this, and she sees the touch from Vasconcelos. That's where the ref has to be a bit wiser, knowing that Sam Mewis can easily get to that ball if she wants to, and is opting to let that roll out over the end line.
North Carolina team, amongst the records they set this season, just one loss. It's the fewest of any team in NWSL history as Ertz and McDonald collide yet again. It'll be another goal kick, and Alyssa Nair hustling over, not wanting to let any precious seconds tick away.
That didn't look like a goal kick to me either.
Chicago, mind you, 10 draws on the season, the most of any team in the league. If they can get another goal to equalize here, of course we cannot end in a draw, they would force overtime. Bryan. Maybe a bit ambitious on the switch. Gilliland hustled back to win it. Bryan up to Nagasato. Kerr on the move. The ball a little behind her. She had to try to come back for it. Just not enough. Connection just has not been as good tonight as it has been for a lot of the season for Chicago. McDonald looking for some insurance. Mewis. The shot is a hard one and it's in! The hill just got steeper for Chicago as Sam Mewis gives North Carolina a 2-goal lead.
And come on with this one. A little bit of nasty on this strike. Julie Ertz is trying to clear that out of danger. Crystal Dunn brings it down and lays it right into stride for Sam Mewis. One touch, gets her head up, and then rifles that one. Far post. This time the post is fortuitous for North Carolina as it pings off the inside. And Nair can't do anything about that. What a strike.
A late goal. How much life will it give this North Carolina team now to try to see this one out? Debinha comes off. Kristen Hamilton comes into the match for the Courage.
And this last flurry of attacks for North Carolina, I think Debinha has been a big part of it. I know some of her shots have been awry, but the pockets that she's been getting into on this near side were opening things up, and you saw that the pressure started to wane from Chicago because North Carolina was finding her. She's calm, composed on the ball, and releasing pressure time and time again.
Rosie White into the match, replacing DiBernardo for Chicago. They have no choice but to send everybody and any opportunity that they get now, take even more chances. Down 2 goals after that strike from Sam Mewis, her 3rd career playoff goal. Williams just uses her speed to get around the edge. Touches it toward Nair, had to come out and stop her. Only one team all season long managed to figure this North Carolina team out and get a win against them. That was the Utah Royals FC. Otherwise, they fought their way to an NWSL record 17 wins on the season. And now Heather O'Reilly, a late addition to this North Carolina team. They acquired her rights from the Utah Royals FC. Made her debut in July against the Chicago Red Stars, and she'll come in, the 33-year-old, and replace Merritt Mathias. Longtime U.S. national team player, over 230 appearances in the red, white, and blue.
But never an outside back, that's for sure.
Well, that is where O'Reilly has found a home for her and some depth this season. McDonald will just try to fend off Casey Short long enough to take more time off the clock. Did well, got it to Hamilton. Now it's keep away for the Courage.
And if this result holds, you just have to feel bad for Chicago because they had the majority of play in that first half. They had those looks, 2 of them coming off the woodwork. And really a much better product that they're putting out tonight than they did a year ago in the semi against North Carolina in North Carolina when they played a different brand of soccer. Much improved squad, and I know the scoreline at this point doesn't say that, but I think they should feel better about the way they've gone about it tonight.
Saw Alyssa Nair actually wincing a few moments ago. She's gonna have to contend with it. You see there, she's in some pain, I think. Corner kick coming for North Carolina, who's again just gonna try to keep it in the corner. And you look at what Chicago this season, and this is a team that started missing so many of its key players. Julie Ertz missed 6 of the first 7. Sam Kerr missed the first 5 for Australia qualifying for next summer's Women's World Cup in France. Short was out, DiBernardo was out, Rosie White was out, and the record showed it. They had a rough start, but they really came together as the season went on. Here's a chance for Kerr. This could change things. Not the touch she wanted, does get the corner. First corner kick of the second half for Chicago. And they'll bring everybody up for this one. Alyssa Nair well past midfield herself as Rosie White will try to steal some hope here. Won't do it on that ball. Colaprico got it back to her. She'll serve it up again. There is Heather O'Reilly. Four minutes, you see the minimum amount of stoppage time added on to this match. White did well to keep that, find an open Julie Ertz. Too much for Nagasato to get to that cleanly. Valiant effort. The Red Stars down 2 goals, realizing their season very close to ending. Katie Naughton trying to get it up to her attackers. Colaprico to serve. North Carolina trying to defend for dear life, and as much as you talk about their offense, their defense was terrific this season too. They led the league in fewest goals allowed, North Carolina. And Yuki Nagasato still down on the ground. Timothy Ford's going to have to come take a look at her. We'll see if we can get a look at what happened.
It was on the challenge here from Hamilton that goes up high with the boot.
Well, she's obviously in some pain as she attempts to get back onto her feet, try to finish this one out for her team.
And what a night she had for Chicago.
But do you think North Carolina, I mean, Paul Riley told Dallin at halftime how concerned he still was, and she was on the ball a lot more, it seemed, in the first half than she was in the second. Do you think North Carolina did that?
I still think that she was prominent in the spaces that she found behind Sam Ewis, behind Denise O'Sullivan in that midfield. Were there, they found her. It just was the lack of connection between her and Kerr for production purposes, ultimately, that didn't pan out. And I think possession-wise, Chicago just wasn't able to get as many numbers forward as they did in the first half and really dominate and control the tempo. I think North Carolina was able to break pressure better than they were in the first half. And when I say that, it wasn't like it was a one-sided game for North Carolina in the second half. But they put together a stronger showing.
We are beyond our minimum 4 minutes. Of course, there was the time when Yuki Nagasato was down that Timothy Ford will have added to his watch as well. But North Carolina, a few ticks of the clock away from making a return to the NWSL Championship. And they have the opportunity to try and exact revenge on the Portland Thorns. They will get to do that. The North Carolina Courage get the 2-0 win over Chicago to go back to the NWSL Championship game.
Well, Paul Riley said it didn't matter where they played, when they played. This team would play anywhere in a parking lot here in Providence Park. They got the job done, and I think they withstood some pressure in that first half, and they were able to come out and find their way in. I mean, Sam Ewis, what a strike from her to really put this thing to bed, and that changed the dynamic of the rest of the half, that's for sure, the rest of the game. But credit to Chicago, Sam Kerr, what a season she had, and the performance they put together tonight.
You certainly hope Alyssa Naeher is okay. As we said, saw her winning, and now she'll turn her sights to World Cup qualifying for the U.S. national team. North Carolina's international players not yet ready to think on that scale. They're thinking about the championship. That'll be played here at Providence Park on Saturday, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific. You talked about that big goal from Sam Ewis. Let's hear what she has to say about the match. She's with Dallin.
I mean, what an unbelievable goal to ice this thing. Congratulations, Sam. What does it feel like to be going back to the championship? Not just going back, but playing Portland, and you just heard their fans in their building.
Yeah, we're excited. We've had a good year so far, but we have some unfinished business, and I just want to give a shout out to my team and to the girls who aren't here. McCall, we miss you. We're excited. It's going to be an exciting week.
Mention McCall. She's been so critical to your team all year long. How does your role change, or what do you have to do differently, if anything, knowing that she's not by your side anymore?
So much. She picks up so much of the slack for all of us, and I think all of us have to increase our game by a lot. She's one of the best midfielders ever, and we miss her a lot, and I think that all we can try to do is try to bring a little bit of her out on the field and hopefully make up for missing her.
Now, this game in the first half, Chicago created a number of chances. What did you guys do this better in the second half? It seemed like you took a little more control of the game in the second 45.
I think we just talked about our press a little bit, and I think we came together at halftime and just said this obviously isn't the best that we can do, and Chicago was great. I mean, they're an awesome team, and I give them so much credit for coming out, and they really tested us.
We're excited for the rematch. See you Saturday.
Thanks.
Well, the impact that McCall would have had in probably spying Yuki Nagasato was certainly felt tonight, and I think Chicago pride on that, but Sam Ewis stepping up, I mean, coming into her form at the right time for this NWSL season and for this North Carolina Courage. It's good to hear her getting her confidence back and seeing it. I mean, taking a strike from that distance means you're willing to risk things, and it's a good sign for this North Carolina team, but also the U.S.
Yeah, no question. A documentary crew following around the North Carolina Courage. Boy, they picked a good team to follow this season, didn't they? Setting all kinds of NWSL records, winning the Shield, trying to become the first Shield winners to ever win the NWSL championship. They'll get the opportunity to try to fight for that. Break some history there as well.
And you know, remember Sam Ewis last year after the final, the first thing she said was about reaping revenge on the Portland Thorns, excuse me. Well, they're going to get their chance.
In the Thorns house. Well, Dallin now is caught up with our first goal scorer of this match, Jess McDonald. Dallin?
Thanks, and Jess, congratulations. First goal to get things going. You guys close out a 2-0 win. You're going to play Portland in the final again. What does that feel like now that you've let that wash over you? And the fans give you a little something too.
Yeah, most certainly. We know it's going to be a challenging game, and it's kind of nice for Portland to have a home game in the championship. I mean, you can't ask for that at all ever. So I know the fans are going to be in the game. I know that Portland Thorns are going to be in the game. So I know we're definitely looking for a huge challenge and sort of a scrap, a fight, a battle, a war, all the above.
It was that last year. I think we might see it again this year. In terms of that, though, and Sam just mentioned you guys have a little unfinished business. Has that been a little bit of the mantra throughout the course this year? It's been a fantastic year, but you kind of got to close it out next weekend.
Yeah, most certainly. We bounced back really well from last season, coming off of a championship loss. We didn't hold that over us at all. Only thing we wanted to do was start over, start fresh, and continue the process from that point on.
Congratulations. Go enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Think about the impact that Jess McDonald has had this season compared to last season when she was hurt, labored. She's been a tremendous reason why they are blowing out the offensive records, everything this year. 53 goals. She's a huge part of that.
And now, obviously, the big goal to start the scoring off in this semifinal match. Help her team get through to the NWSL championship. North Carolina Courage get the shutout, get the win over Chicago 2-0. We will be back to wrap things up from Providence Park after this. The North Carolina Courage getting the job done in the semifinals, booking their ticket into the 2018 NWSL Championship game. It is a rematch of last year's final, one the Portland Thorns won 1-0. Lindsey Horan had the game winner in that one. And after that moment, the North Carolina players saying they wanted a chance to get revenge. Well, after a terrific season, they're going to get just that. That championship match coming your way Saturday right here from Providence Park, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific, live on Lifetime. Can't wait for that one. But first, let's celebrate this North Carolina team just a little bit, Allie. They got the job done yet again. Chicago made it really difficult for them, was a little bit unlucky in that first half, the Red Stars, but North Carolina doing what they do, which is win.
Yeah, and I was surprised that they didn't dominate as much as I anticipated. I thought it was mostly Chicago, and it was probably an unfair scoreline, at least going into half. But as you said, Jen, they're efficient. They're efficient. This is a team that has put up ridiculous numbers offensively this season, and we saw it again tonight. They didn't have to have the ball. They didn't have to create a ton of chances, but they were able to put the ones away when they counted.
Yeah, they scored early, and then they scored late. That was enough to get the 2-0 win. Let's take a look back, starting with that first goal in the 5th minute.
And it starts with Crystal Dunn just rolling her defender. The center back is up her back, and she's able to beat her, and then Jess McDonald takes down the other center back. That's Julie Ertz, and it just power pace, slots that one in. I think it's a toe poke, actually, that plants by Alyssa Nair. You said in opportune moments they were able to finish. I mean, it was in the 5th minute, and then it was to close the game out here in the 86th, where Crystal Dunn just brings that ball down. She's not doing anything special. Sam Ewis doesn't look like she's in a dangerous area. No one can close her with pace, and she just rifles that one far post.
And that was all the scoring that North Carolina would need to get this done. So it does set up our rematch. Yeah. North Carolina-Portland, what do you think? Some early thoughts for that one?
My hope is that it's not the battle that it was last season, and that there's good football played, and that both teams come out, and yes, there's intensity, there's fire in the belly. It's going to be rocking in this house in Providence Park, but that there's good football for both sides. And I think we're going to see that, because I think this Portland team is a different team than they were last year. The way they get so big and the way they play their expansive shape And I think with North Carolina, if they can start to connect, even without McCall, if they can start to find that in the final, it's going to be a really great game.
Do you think that absence of McCall Zerboni, I mean, you think about that midfield for Portland, controlling Lindsey Horan, how much of an issue is that going to be?
It's huge, and I think the Sam Ewis and Denise O'Sullivan have to figure it out because they're going to have to share that responsibility to keep Lindsey Horan at bay because she makes those runs out of midfield, and you got to pick them up.
Well, we hope that you guys will come back and join us. Why wouldn't you? The season comes to a close. The NWSL Championship game coming up on Lifetime. That is Saturday, a special time of 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 Pacific, as we present the 2018 NWSL Championship right here from Providence Park between the Portland Thorns and the North Carolina Courage. Our final in this one, North Carolina 2, Chicago 0. For Allie Wagner and Dallin Cuff, I'm Jen Hildreth. You've been watching the NWSL and ESPN presented by Lifetime.